All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into game number 1, match 4. It's match point for Team MouseSports 2-1. And we're going to go over to Mana versus Happy. Let's check it out right now. Starting map is Odyssey.
Yes, and Mana, widely regarded as the best European PvT player a few months ago. Whether or not he's lost that title, I don't know. People have just kind of stopped hyping that. It's certainly still one of the best, for sure. I got to recently watch him play and absolutely dismantle Clyde, actually, in a 2-0 victory. And his Storms are so good. They are so good. And that sounds silly, but honestly, people, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just start checking out Mana games, because they are grossly, grossly fantastic. And again, we might have that opportunity here, as it is Empire Happy. Happy, a player that you were kind of showing some love to in the pre-game.
Yeah, I love Happy's play, man. He's probably the one player that, I mean, yes, the European team knows him very well, but I'm not sure if the American team knows him as well. He definitely deserves a lot more credit, and I think we're going to be seeing him do a lot better if he goes to international tournaments. He might actually get, you know, I think he's worthy of top 16 MLG and things like that.
You know, sometimes it's tough, too, because a lot of the big tournaments that take place are all North American-based, MLG, IPL, NASL. And a lot of times these fantastic European players, especially Eastern European players, don't have as many opportunities to make it over here. So we don't get to see them showcased nearly as much. And that's why it's nice when we do these really highly competitive online team leagues, such as the NASTL, where we get to see, okay, Happy is one of the 3 or 4 guys that Empire on a routine basis says, yeah, we're sending Happy out, he's freaking good. And hopefully more people get exposed to him, because again, there's stats coming out talking about how Terran players are a lot less common. Terran streams are a lot less frequent. These are some of the opportunities we have to see what some of the top Terran brains think about the game and see how they're employed.
You know, it's tough, especially being in Ukraine as well. I was actually talking to Dimaga on one of my shows, The Round Table, and it was like before the show, and he was saying, hey, you know, I have to travel like 7 hours by train just to get to an airport.
That's Dimaga, too.
Dimaga, yeah, he's one more well-known, and let's be honest, he's kind of well off with how much success he's had in StarCraft. I know that's actually, like, StarCraft money is actually enough money to actually have him sustainable in real life.
Yeah. And as you were saying, they work for it, man. If I had to travel 7 hours by train to get to an airport, to then fly 10+ hours to anywhere on Western
even
Europe,
like
but
UK,
yeah, just the UK, and then obviously a lot more than that to the United States. That is crazy talk, but yet White Raw is never in the same place twice, I feel like. He's almost always somewhere else. He's giddy, he's excited. And you know what's cool, too? When White Raw loses, how many times do you hear him say, you know, I didn't really practice because I've been traveling so much, or I'm really tired. And, like, people give him that credit because it's due, but he doesn't make it about how he's never able to play in top form. He's actually just a competitor and a performer, and that's inspirational, because certainly I myself can fall into that excuse land where it's like, well, for the last week I've been casting and doing all this stuff. That's why I didn't play very well. Nah, you know, take ownership of it. That's part of your job. You're still expected to win.
And White Raw, well, Ukrainian team always such a fantastic lineup of people.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and talk about the game right now. What do we have? We have Happy going for what looks like to be
Oh, yeah, it's
I'm not
Banshee.
Sure.
It's got to be Banshee.
No, it's
wow,
not.
it's Medevac. Okay, interesting choice. Off that Reactor, this is something we see more players doing. It's Reactor Marine with Medevac, and then also Hellions. It's pretty much supposed to be like a 1-gate expand counter. You're supposed to try to counter that Nexus. I'll say this, though. I feel like if the Protoss does exactly what Mana did, which is go 3 gates, then Robo, oftentimes they have enough units to actually defend this, and if they do, without taking too many probe loss, they're actually way ahead.
There it is, Tech Lab, so this will be a 1-1-1 follow-up as well.
Ah, okay.
It's just going to be mass pressure. Yeah, it was kind of weird because we saw, you know, 2 gas go down so early.
Yeah.
And normally when you have that, you do have something like Banshee.
Oh, and it's not the Marine side either, by the way. I was wrong.
Wow.
This is just Hellion Harass.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I'll say this about the 1-1-1. When you do 1-1-1, there's basically 2 stages to it. And if the attack gets held off, then there's a third, but that third one's kind of a joke. You have to harass with something. So some players will opt for Hellions, or in this case, Hellion Drop. Other players will open up with that Banshee, and it'll make its way over there. But if you can actually hurt the economy of the Protoss in any way, shape, or form, they're in trouble. If you can't, though, you're in trouble. That's kind of the new metagame in 1-on-1.
We got that Hellion starting up. Oh my god, instantly takes out the medevac. That is going to cripple Happy. And all of a sudden, he's not looking too happy, man.
No.
That's not the trade that you want to actually be.
He does kill 8 probes. But I feel like Mana is actually reading his opponent really well. I'm not quite, like, if you check his vision, yes, he saw the bunker and he saw the reactor, that's it. But everything about what he's doing right now screams that he's reading 1-1-1. If you look, he's actually not producing that many probes. He's not chrono boosting him as much. Of course, as I say that, he does chrono boost his probes there, so come on, man, work with me on this. But I really feel like he has an idea that he's facing 1-on-1, and like I said, that'd be quite the read, because he would have gotten that just off of the Hellion opener.
Well, he's going to see and confirm it right now as the first observer actually makes its way over.
Ooh.
Now, the second thing you do, once you see that there's no command center established, you check for command center on the high ground.
2 more barracks Gretorp, too. This is actually a pretty... What did he see? So he saw the additional barracks. He does not see the starport, but of course with the Raven, that should be a pretty dead giveaway. And he can actually make the leap from there. We're all, you know, smart. Now he is going Twilight Council. Not going to go Colossus. And normally I'd be like, cool, that's a great choice. But actually, Gretorp, with 3 barracks, there's going to be a ton of Marines. And if you don't have area of effect damage to deal with those Marines, I don't care. Go ahead, kill the Banshee, kill the tanks. Those Marines are what's going to win it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think there's a couple different ways you can go about this. I've seen people actually go for Blink Stalkers and just try to play super aggressive, but you need a lot of position. The other way I've seen is you just go a really, really fast charge. But we do see Blink Stalkers. Wow, interesting.
And he's going to move up to 5 gates. He's actually also building... Ooh, I don't like this Observer. He's already got 1 out. This will be his 3rd Observer. He needs that time for an Immortal, I feel. I guess what he's saying is, well... I'm not,
well, he's scared of Cloak Banshees, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's one of the big problems, because he sees the Banshee out in the field, so he's like, okay, well, I saw your Raven already. You might just try to pick off my Observers, and then the Banshees pretty much get in.
Yeah, Gretorp, if I was a betting man, I would look at this attack coming, and I would say Mana is a dead, dead, dead man. These Immortals, this Blink, this would have been fantastic if he was facing the more traditional 1-on-1, where...
Yes.
It's fewer Marines, more tanks, more Banshees, that kind of a thing. But in this case, with the Raven basically canceling out the damage of Stalkers, so if he's able to drop that PDD right outside the natural, it's curtains. And then even just with that, the Marine count's so high.
Yeah, now the Stalkers are going to try to kite as best as possible. Blink is not yet finished, 15 seconds away. And look at this, Mana has to back up so much. Yeah. This is so much position that you're giving up for these Stalkers to do damage. And that's the big problem.
Look at those Banshees get insta-healed by the auto repair too. I mean, this is not looking good. Even in supply, the Terran player's up 10 with all of his SVs being here. There's the Siege. PDD can go down, and they're funneled. Feedback really doesn't do much here. Okay, it gets the Banshees, but who cares? They're getting repaired. And Mana's army has evaporated.
Literally evaporated. I mean, the Archon even died so fast. Now, he might be... No, there's just way too many Marines. He's going to push in here and just cripple the Protoss. So no standing force whatsoever. The siege tanks will get in position, kill off this expansion. And this is going to be curtain calls for our Protoss friend over here, Mana, who really doesn't have anything to back up into. Those Zealots would have been great if they had charge, maybe.
Right.
But even
still probably
this,
not enough.
Yeah, still not enough.
It's just that's the thing about the 1-1. The 1-1 puts it all on the line on one single moment. And if the Protoss player doesn't have the army composition and then also doesn't make the perfect decisions in terms of micro but also battle placement, they're just dead. It's just a math equation. Now he's going to push forward, getting a lot of Zealots in the front line. Auto turrets do go down, but, well, okay, Zealots getting in there. One tank does go down. The second one's at low health. And... nope, no final swipe there, but that was it. That's all of Mana's army. Warpins, nowhere to be seen, and he's starting... Oh, no, an Artosis pylon. That does it for his infrastructure.
That's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We see a GG come out from Mana pretty soon here. I don't know how he can actually come back into this. Well, no.
Well, here's the final attack.
Yep.
An Archon.
An Archon. Going to be targeted down, but no bueno. No, can't, no.
And attack's going to wind down. Final Zealot does die. Mana has been defeated. I really feel like Mana... Like, I was saying that he had a read on the 1-1. I'm not sure that he did. Like, I've seen Mana handle the 1-1 before. Actually, he's played Puma a few times, which is one and the same, actually. And he's actually been able to stop Puma. Now, of course, not everyone doesn't have their one response to the 1-1, so maybe this is an alternative response to it. But like we've been harping on, I think the heavier Marine variation, especially when it hits just before Blink, so you're not even really able to buy yourself more time, that's really tough.
Yeah, I think the charge style would have been a lot better in that position. Obviously, he had a ton of probes. Gas is actually really tough, so if you're going to High Templars just to remove the Banshees and the Ravens, you know, it can be really tough while going Blink Stalkers.
Yeah.
So go that charge. Make the Siege Tanks deal damage onto your own units, and then all of a sudden you're in a good position. But obviously the Blink Stalkers, I think, cost him at the end. Doesn't really make sense to go Blink Stalkers and High Templars. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. A 1-0 victory right now for, of course, Happy. We're going to go into game number 2 between these two players and see if Mana can come back into this. 2-1 for Mouz right now for the $10,000 prize. We'll be back after this.